Hello there everyone, how you doing today? I hope you're all well. Today we've got some more stories from r/entitled people. If you enjoy, please like and subscribe. And if you don't, like and subscribe anyway, cause I'm not your mama. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. Now, without further ado, let's get started, fam. Coworker waited hours for my shift to end, so I would drive her home, even after I said no. Hey everybody, join this subreddit just for this story, since I figured it wouldn't belong anywhere else. It is such an insane story that I wouldn't doubt if you guys didn't believe it, but it's unfortunately very, very true. I, 19 female, work at a library. I work in the children's department along with older co-workers, think 30 to 50s, as well as other teens. I've been working there since high school, which is how I know Melaine, 18 female. To put it bluntly, Melaine and I are not friends. We used to be friendly back in high school, as we had a couple of the same friends, and we've both been working at our job for years. I would definitely not call us friends currently, though, due to Melaine's attitude. She's that type of person who will ask for a favor, and if you refuse, she'll act like a complete a-hole to you. Once in high school, she asked for a ride home, but I said no, as I had a track meet coming or something that day, and obviously couldn't take her. She huffed and stormed off, glaring at me for like a week before she came back like nothing had happened, and asked me for a ride home again. It's clear too that she really doesn't see us as friends, as when we work together she'll ignore me completely, or just glare at me, only talking to me if it's something involving our job, or if she needs something. If she needs something from me, then suddenly we're best friends, and she'll chat with me like nothing happened. So yeah, I really don't like her. To the main story. I came to work yesterday, like 2:30ish, and Melaine was there. Our shifts alternate slightly, where there's like an hour when the two of us are both working before she leaves and I continue my shift. I hadn't seen her since we graduated, so we spent a few minutes catching up. She then asked me if I could take her home after her shift ended. I was obviously confused, as I still had hours to go before I was done with mine, and I told her such. She then implied that I could use my break time to drive her, and I honestly laughed out loud because I thought she was joking. Or breaks are 15 minutes long, and it would take 30 minutes to drive there and back from her home without traffic. Realistically, it would end up taking like 45 to 60 minutes, because of how traffic heavy our area is. And B, who wants to spend their time driving someone home? Melaine lied because she had to be home and her mom couldn't take her. I said, no, sorry, but there's no way that's happening. Melaine stormed off and ignored me for the rest of her shift before she, I assumed, at the time, left. I didn't think much of the situation, a little amused at her audacity, but whatever. Eventually my time to leave comes, so I wave bye to my coworkers and head outside. And that's when I see Melaine sitting outside on the benches. She immediately perked up after seeing me, running over while I just looked at her. You're leaving, right? Can you give me a ride? I was shocked. I flat out asked her if she'd been waiting outside for practically 4 hours for me to leave, even after I said no. She said no, she walked to our nearby town to do other things before she came back here. But in my opinion, that still counts as her waiting for me to drive her. I was creeped out and honestly a little ticked off, since it felt like to me she was trapping me and playing the "you're leaving so you could take me too" card. It took everything in me to not yell or even book it to my car, Lamau. I calmly told her that I had plans after work, and that no, I could not take her. And honestly, it was insane that she would just wait around and assume I would take her getting the message. and calling someone else. She stared at me. I think she was shocked I actually stood up to her. With that, I walked to my car and drove off. I really hope she never tries to do that to me or any of my other coworkers, to be honest. Entitled Daycare Admin Wants Ill Employees. This happened in 2005. I was working as the cook, AM pre-kindergarten, and after-school age teacher in a child care center that had infants through 5th graders. Up until the time of this story, I had no problems with anyone at the center, and had been working there for a little over a year. It was the middle of January, and I came down with I can't pronounce that, oh my god. Even though, it's the big sniffle. Even though while I was 28 and lived on my own, I didn't drive. So I called my mom, who lived 20 minutes away, to take me to the emergency room. I ended up having to stay in the hospital for 10 days plus 2 weeks recovery time at home because of the pre-existing chronic illness that lengthened my recovery time. I had already been gone from work on sick leave for a few days. Before I went into the hospital, I think it was 3 or 4 days. The day that I went into the hospital, I had my mom call into work to tell them I'd not be there and tell them why. The center assistant director, my immediate boss, asked for a sick note, which my mom got from the doctor in the ER and gave to my work that day. The doctor wrote that I would need to be in the hospital for at least 3 more days, through Monday. So my boss asked me to let her know by Monday how I was doing, and if I would need more time off. I was able to call my boss on Sunday and tell her the doctor was keeping me in the hospital longer, and center director, my boss's boss, telling me in no uncertain terms that I was to be there on Tuesday or I wouldn't have a job. I told her what I told my boss and that the doctor was keeping me in the hospital and that I had to be home recuperating for 2 weeks after I got out. The director yelled at me on the phone so loud that my nurse heard it and took the phone away from me while she was still yelling. The nurse talked to the director, told the same thing I told her, and the director got all huffy and demanded that the doctor send a signed fax on hospital letterhead that stated exactly why I couldn't return to work on Tuesday. My doctor, of course, had no problem doing just that. Even with the doctor's fax to them, the director fired me for inconveniencing them and leaving without a substitute cook available for the center. Apparently the director wanted everyone to get sick. Huh. Well, that sucks. Entitled customer wants free beer because it's too cold. So I had to switch my job back to working in retail, a small market where you could buy lemonade, beer, and all sorts of different drinks. I've been working there since the new owners bought the old store and made some improvements to it, from more beer and lemonade brands to new equipment. One of these new equipments is a refrigerator for drinks, and me and my colleague, we were the only 2 workers in the store, had to always have a certain amount of Phil's beer, alcohol-free beer, Radler, beer with lemon or grapefruit, and lemonade or Walter stored in it so customers can buy cold drinks. This all went well and nobody complained. Why would they? But a few days ago, we had this one customer that really was the worst of them all. I saw that there was some space in the fridge, so I thought it would be a good idea to put some Guinness beer into it, because all the international beers are in a darker corner of the store, and most likely people would not even see them there, and even if it would be cold, they would most likely buy it. So I put the Guinness in there. The fridge has 6 Celsius to 8 Celsius. This is important for later. I was on late shift too, so I knew that the beer would be nice and cold for the next day, and then I went home after my shift ended. The next day when I arrived at work, I did the usual. Talked to my coworker about the new delivery stuff, and the new data in the cash computer, when a customer came up to us with a crate of beer. It was Guinness, and in Saw. There were 5 bottles missing, so I told him that he can buy a full crate if he wants to. There are still some bottles in our fridge over there. This was the last Guinness crate we had, and the next delivery of our liquid goods would come in tomorrow. So he went through our fridge, grabbed the first bottle, and came stomping back to us, asking what the hell we were doing. My coworker were confused until he yelled at us that the Guinness should be not stored cold, that it needs to be at room temperature, which is a complete lie and hilarious because when we refer to room temperature, we talk about 10 Celsius or about 15 Celsius, or just 20 Celsius, which would make the beer taste like pee. He then demanded that he get the whole crate, not just the missing bottles, for free, because we clearly didn't know how to do our job. I then stepped in, telling him that our fridge has exactly 7 Celsius at the moment, and the optimal drinking temperature was exact that for Guinness. He did not believe us and kept on demanding he get the whole crate for free. And then my coworker came to him with our big folder from our delivery guys, where every single drink from water to spirits were listed, so we could give customers who have questions about certain drinks advice for what's in the drink. It is completely sugar-free, and they even have put info for beers in there, from taste, color of the ale, and even the optimal drinking temperature for each kind of beer. So, she searched for Guinness and showed him the list of info, in which is written that the optimal drinking temperature for Guinness is 6 to 7 degrees Celsius. So the beer was not too cold, it's not a drop in quality, and he has 2 options now, to either leave or buy the crate for normal price. And surprisingly, he brought it, normal price and all, before stomping out of the store, leaving me and my coworker confused AF. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, it helps the channel a lot. See you next time.